All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Calling to order the meeting of the Inland Valley Development Agency on this April 17th, 2018. Madam Clerk, would you please at this time do roll call?
Yes. Please state your name for the record. From the city of Colton.
Jack Woods.
Isaac Suchel.
From the city of Loma Linda.
Hovi Popescu.
From the county of San Bernardino, 5th District.
Josie Gonzalez.
And from the city of San Bernardino.
Carrie Davis.
Virginia Marquez.
Fred Charette.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you so very much. Mr. Burrows, will there be a closed session today?
Yes, there will.
All right. Then at this time, I would ask, is there anyone from the public wishing to come forward to speak on an item that is on closed session? Seeing no one, I will at this time recess to closed session. That's right. All right, moving forward at this time, we're back from closed session, and at this time would like to ask legal counsel, is there any reportable action as a result of closed session?
There is not, Madam Chair. I just would, however, like to note for the record that there was no discussion that took place on item D of the closed session.
Very good. Thank you very much. So I now call to order the open session of this IVDA meeting, and we'll ask everyone to please stand, and I'll ask Mayor Davis to please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Thank you. Place your hand on your heart. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much, Mayor. At this time, Madam Clerk, I believe we've had some additional members join us. Would you call that additional roll?
From the city of Loma Linda.
City
From
of
the city
Loma Linda.
Oh, I'm here.
Your name?
Is this thing working?
Yes.
Dusty Rigsby.
And from the county of San Bernardino, 3rd District.
James Ramos.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Madam Clerk. Any informational items to be presented at this time, Mr. Burrows?
Just one informational item. You'll recall earlier this past year, we got authority from this body to do a solicitation for a joint venture development partner for our second office building at Mill and Tippecanoe, what we refer to as the former DFAS building. And happy to report that legal counsel was successful in finalizing an exclusive right to negotiate with the firm of F.E. Schnetz Realty, along with John Torkin. That's the team that was the most qualified, determined party to take on that project. Happy to report they're actively in the due diligence phase, having their contractors and support teams go through that facility, and we hope to be back with a definitive agreement very soon.
All right, very good. Any questions, any comments? Hearing none, I will move on to the consent calendar. At this time, I would entertain a motion to approve consent calendar items 3 through 6. I have a motion.
Second.
Councilmember Charette, second from Councilwoman Marquez. Any comments? Any opposition? Hearing none, it is so ordered. Moving on to item number 7, which is to consider and adopt proposed budget adjustments for fiscal year 2017-2018. Mr. Gray would...
So Mr. Garay has unfortunately had to take a medical
Oh, that's
appointment.
right.
So I'll cover this in brief, and then obviously
you
Alka
and, you
help
and
me.
your bronchitis will...
I'm on a roll.
Oh, all right,
Yeah.
all right.
So what we're proposing here is the majority of this is to reflect a transfer into the capital projects fund, and that is directly tied to an item you'll see later on your agenda here for a proposed agreement with Hillwood for some development work that we've identified as needing to be done in a very compressed time frame. So as you see in item A there, we're recognizing the new revenue in, and that's coming from a reserve account into that fund. And then on the expense side, we're needing to make some minor adjustments on the office equipment and maintenance budget to get us through the end of fiscal year, as well as professional services for the comprehensive economic development strategy that was on your consent agenda. Ms. Beltran has identified that we do have to update our 5-year plan to stay in compliance with federal EDA requirements. And so that is now here, so we can make that in a timely fashion. And then you'll see a minor adjustment to miscellaneous, and then you'll see the expense side of that capital improvement adjustment reflected below. And those are the adjustments we've identified coming out of this quarter. So happy to answer any questions.
All right. Any questions, board members?
Through the chair.
Mayor?
The $3 million that's reflected on page 55 in the cash report on page 22, is that the item that will be transferred from the base reuse?
That is, yes. That's the
9
that's the
million,
account.
that's
Yes,
where
sir.
it's from.
Yes.
Thank you.
Very good. All right, any other questions? Hearing none, at this time, I would consider a motion.
I'll make the motion. I'll second the budget adjustments.
I have a motion from Councilmember Suchel and a second from Councilmember Popescu. Any comments? Any opposition? It is so ordered. Moving on to item number 8, which is to consider and discuss a report of economic development initiatives. Mr. Burrows.
So I'm actually going to, pop the other one up. So I'm actually going to take good advice and ask for some help with this one. So pleased to report that our chief development partner here, Mr. John Magnus with Hillwood, has decided to save my voice, and he's a lot sharper and smarter than I am, so he has some nice things to tell you about our partnership with Alliance California.
Sounds good. Good afternoon, Mr. Magnus. It's a pleasure to see you, and thank you so much for coming forward and making this item's presentation.
Glad to be here, and I think I have the slide changer here.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Hopefully this works. Green button?
Is it on?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. Put the dot in your eye.
What's up there?
It's in the agenda.
There you go.
There it is.
Back. There we go.
All right.
Since I'm speaking for you, can we give her a promotion?
Hey,
Okay.
go ahead.
Done.
If you're putting up the money, that's fine with me. Hey.
All right, very good. So thank you very much for the opportunity to come before you again and give you a quick update. I think the last one we did was in December. End of the year, we'll consider this kind of the mid-year update and give you an update on activities on the former Norton Air Force Base. This slide is really just a history lesson of when we started. Can't believe it's been this long, since 2002. I commuted out here for 2 years before that, but we don't count that as time. But this has been a great project, and I'll give you a rundown of the economic change and the change to the landscape. These are the pictures from 2002 when we arrived here, and obviously a lot has changed during the course of this redevelopment. Here's our current master plan. There's some new things on here that I'd like to point out. One is, if you remember the Waterman Golf Course, we activated that ground lease with the city of Riverside and finished the entitlements on it with the city of San Bernardino. And we'll start drilling a new well for the city of Riverside, and construction will start sometime late this summer on a new facility there. We don't have a tenant yet, but I believe that one will come along. We're in discussions with several who are very excited about it. Some e-commerce, some normal logistics and distribution, but very good activity in the market today. We have I think we're up to a little over 14 million feet now, and that have been constructed in new buildings here to take the place of the old Air Force buildings here. So if you remember, our charge was to change 3 things: the landscape, the tax base, and then the job count here. And so this is our scorecard. This is what we like you all to measure our success on. And I think by any measure, it's been a good success. About 4.2 million square feet have been demolished now. We took out the last couple buildings when we built the two speculative buildings next to Kohl's, between Kohl's and Pep Boys. And so all of that demolition's been done. New buildings, now we're over 15 million square feet, and that's an increase of about 1 million square feet since our last briefing to you. And right now, we have about 3 million square foot planned. And what's interesting, I think the last time we were in front of you, we said that was about 1.5 million, because we're really out of land on the base. So we're now going off the base to try and find additional square footage. That obviously adds to the tax base and the job count. So second goal is increasing the tax base. We've added a couple projects here. At the bottom of this list is Trader Joe's. Remember last time before you, we were negotiating a sale of a building that we didn't really want to part with, but Trader Joe's made us the offer we couldn't refuse, and they have bought that now and have started to retrofit. So they tore out the insides that we just put in and are putting in freezer cooler space for their stores. So that's Trader Joe's. And that's the tax base that we put in. That's the construction costs of our facility. They'll probably invest another $20 or $30 million inside the building. So the tax base will continue to go up. Westgate 6 is a new speculative building, and that also sold to a pension fund that's holding that. So that transacted last year and has added to the total economic development of $850 million of investment. Small print here, but bringing jobs back. I know you all measure us on how many jobs we're producing. So since the last update, we have 2 new tenants, Multiquip, which took one of our smaller speculative buildings, 177,000 square feet, and that's in between Kohl's and Pep Boys. And Multiquip, we're doing their tenant improvements now, which is fairly extensive, and their lease will commence this summer, and they'll add about 50 employees. It's a small building, but the one criticism that we've heard, and that just took us years to wake up to, was that we build a lot of big buildings, and we need some smaller space for some of the smaller companies. Multiquip, though, is not a small company, and they do sales of large farm and construction equipment, and this will be their parts distribution. Trader Joe's will employ about 300 people when all is said and done, and so they're starting on their freezer cooler now. And it was real interesting to see them go through their site selection. They could have been anywhere in Southern California, but they chose San Bernardino. Now can tell the complete story. They had some land under contract with us in Rialto, and the city of San Bernardino stood up and said, we can do it faster. And there's a good, healthy competition between the cities. And the city of San Bernardino permitted it faster, and we got them in there much quicker than in the city of Rialto. Not anything against the city of Rialto, but we already had a building started under construction. But as you remember, we had to really start over inside the building. So I'd say San Bernardino had the upper hand, but the city staff was very, very good to work with and treated Trader Joe's very well and convinced them that we could change an existing building to accommodate what they needed. So it was good, healthy competition, and in this case, this facility will be here in the IVDA property. So I think we're going to talk about this a little bit later on, but hopefully I'll be back in front of you within 30 days to present a check. So Mike, the shrewd negotiator that he is, we exchanged some traffic credits for profit participation, and he knows to bet on Hillwood. And when Trader Joe's, they closed on the transaction, that'll produce plus or minus about $1 million of net profit to the IVDA. So good bet on his part. And these are credits that weren't going to be used anyway, so I think I got the raw end of that deal. How did you do that, Mike? I don't know. All right. Okay, so we tallied this now up in total private investment. We add Hillwood's deals, the Stater Brothers, very, very large transaction, and the Hillwood land. We've bought more land around the airport. We just closed on the big land lease I didn't really value the entire property, just really a portion of it, just to be fair. And then we've bought buildings off base just to the north, and that occurred in 2009. Our infrastructure spending, and then some general overhead and pursuit money, almost $1 billion now since 2001. So what we do is we try to put that through a model to say what would the economic impact be, and so we count up all the city fees that we've paid above and beyond taxes, the school fees in addition to that, so roughly $30 million, $31 million of fees to the city and the schools. We then take our private investment and run it through an economic multiplier, and so we come up with that $2.4 billion of economic impact for the project. We touched on this as our master plan and some of the new changes to it and some of the new buildings as they're coming available. Here's multi-equip. So we have one more building that we have, I think, last count was 4 RFPs on for Building 3. Building 2 is where multi-equip is going in, and they'll start operations in July. And so that'll be a good tenant to add to the master plan. I think I bragged a little bit last time that we've had only one tenant ever move out, and multi-equip similarly signed a 10-year lease, so they'll be here for 10 years. So it'll be a great addition. Here's what it looks like from the ground, both multi-equip's building and the speculative space, the 177 Building 3. Trader Joe's, I think I told you a little of the history of this last time. This is a parcel that Kohl's bought from us through the IVDA back in 2002. And we said, look, you can sell this, but we want first crack at it when it comes back. If you don't build your expansion, as you know, Kohl's and retail in general has not been growing as fast as e-commerce has. So Kohl's decided to shed this vacant 20 acres. We were able to catch that, team up with the IVDA with the traffic credits, and build them a facility and build a speculative facility that they then came along and bought from us. So that building is complete. Finished the punch list, which is the last couple items on it this week, and Trader Joe's has started their freezer cooler portion of the building. Got to love those stars on the buildings. We get a lot of good comments about that. So I don't know if you can see this. I'll try to point it out a little bit here. If you look at the screen here, here's the golf course and the next 1 million square feet that will go in. That we're just under construction now. We have another 13 acres here on Tippecanoe that we bought years ago that we finished the entitlements with the city, and we've got a new tenant that we're talking about building a build-to-suit there. So we'll probably start that later this year. We've got a little property next to the next to the charter school. We have 8 acres here. If the charter school wants to move out, I know the city has been talking to them and the county have been talking to them. If they move out, we would like to buy that 15 acres. Just putting that in there just to
Go ahead.
make sure
Go ahead.
we're still very interested. And then up here in the next to Mattel, we have a couple remnant pieces here that we can very quickly put into production if we can buy out the church and buy out the city gym, which both are under some form of contract or exclusive right to do, and hopefully we can affect that. And if the federal government will get out of our way, we can do that much quicker. And the city's been very cooperative, as has the church, who would like a new church built for them, which we hope to do very soon. So those are the areas we're concentrating in. I have to mention the what we call Area D, which goes back to the way we planned this out, A, B, C, and D, or something like that. But this Area D area, also called Eastgate, because there's a north, south, east, or west, and now of Eastgate, is the air cargo facility that about a month ago, or 2 months ago, Mike and Hillwood got together and said we're going to start the entitlements. And so we're a good 45 days into that, and we hope to finish that this fall. As you know, we've got a lot of good activity in air cargo, and I think we'll be very happy with this, putting this into availability in what I'm calling the golden age of aviation that's upon us. We just need to be ready for them to come back by us. So we've got a lot of activity and things that we're working on here. Almost 15, 16 years after the original agreement was signed. Here's the aerial on the old golf course next to the sewage treatment plant that we're just now starting. And then the area between Mattel and the airport where we have the two out parcels, which are the old base gym and the church. Once we can put those together, we can put a nice facility in here, which we hope could start by the end of the year. This is the Area D air cargo area, very nice parcel of about 75, 80 acres in here that can be put together for aviation use. So that shows the planning areas that we're working on. I often get up here and forget, not purposely, but because I know that you all know me, but want to just make sure you know there's a lot of people working to make all this stuff happen for you and for the airport and for IVDA. We've got a big team of men and women who work tirelessly. Mike gets the pleasure of working with them a lot, but this is both on the construction side, the entitlement side, the property management side, the marketing. It's all happening, and we very much appreciate the partnership that's occurred. We couldn't do it without these people, but also without Mike's staff and the city of San Bernardino and all the other cities that are part of the IVDA. Thank you.
I've now seen Joe with a tie. I think that's a first.
I don't think he borrowed mine there, I think.
Yeah.
The construction guys never wear ties, just for picture day.
So if you wouldn't mind to indulge me, I want to fast forward in our economic development report to a particular slide while John's still here, and certainly, of
Before
course,
you leave,
got
through the chair,
Please.
can you go back to the graphic that shows the one before that? Before that. On Waterman, there's a property that is still vacant, and I think it's north of the IRC.
On the corner?
Yeah, I think it's on the
I
corner.
think it's owned by Verizon.
That's,
If it's
it's got the star on it.
no, we don't have any vacant buildings.
No.
It says available.
That says, is that on Central? Isn't that Central
That'd be Central Avenue.
in Tippy? Or did you
There's
say
one on
I think it's
Waterman.
on Waterman.
There's one on Waterman up by, it's almost up to 3rd Street, maybe 5th Street. That is vacant, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we sold that to the pension fund.
Okay, that's the one you mentioned
Yes,
earlier.
400,000 square feet. And
So that's a
you remember-
spec building on their part?
I'm sorry?
The pension is speculating on that building?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
So we built it as a spec building, not having a tenant. And before we finished construction, the pension funds need to deploy capital, and they're looking for good investments, and they know San Bernardino is a very good industrial bet for them. The pension fund advisors out of Chicago, and they have multiple pension funds investing in their funds, and they're not worried at all about leasing it, but they are taking their time. For a guy like me, I'd be panicking and saying, "Oh my gosh, we don't have a tenant," but they're very patient, looking for the right tenant.
And that's how many square feet?
400,000 square feet.
400,000 square. Thank you.
Through the
If you
chair.
remember what was there was there was a truck repair, some underground storage tanks of fuel. We had to remediate and clean it up. There was a bail bonds office on the corner. So I'll take an empty building over that any day to clean up that portion of Waterman. But it is pretty sad not having a tenant. But that's just how I feel
Thank
about
you.
it.
Councilmember Woods and then Councilwoman Marquez.
Thank you. Looking at your map up here where the golf course is, the circle includes the area of the golf course that is on the opposite side of the river. I understood that was going to be retained for the first tee.
Yes, thank you. We did not we did not lease that portion of it. And I have the slide up here. Yes, it includes a little corner of it there. The city of San Bernardino still owns that part, or maybe it's the water department owns that. We did not, we left that alone. I think there's 4 holes there, and I think there is a nonprofit that is thinking of First Tee, I think, is thinking of using that.
I think there are 6 over there, yes.
Yeah, that's still standing and still being maintained. We don't, we're not disturbing that at all.
That's good, thank you.
So I would just buttress what John's reported here. As you all know, in our strategic plan, we are obligated to track our direct job generation. And as you've seen in the report in your packet, Brandy and her team just recently completed the analysis of that. The numbers that John has in his packet, actually include Trader Joe's and Multiquip, which of course came after our cutoff. So they are very principled folks that do this count, and because those jobs were added after our cutoff, they're not in our annual count for this year. However, our count includes both the Hillwood employment and the airport employment. And if you recall, last year we hit a milestone. So first time ever, over 10,000 direct jobs, 10,786 to be exact. The numbers as of this year, 11,575, which with our in-plan economic analysis equates to over $2.3 billion of economic output. So recall when we did the analysis a few years back, we lost 10,000 direct jobs, and that equated to about 1.9 billion of economic loss. We've now hit 11,500 plus and over 2.3 billion in output. And that's thanks to the success of the partnership and seeing a lot of activity come to light here now on the airport. So it's been an exciting time.
All right, Councilwoman Marquez.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And John, thank you for your presentation. It's just exciting to see that we're moving on. I do have a specific question on one of your earlier slides. You have like all your employers, starting with Amazon. There you go. I know you have Amazon there 3 times, and I know one of them is your distribution center. Which ones are the other 2? The fulfillment center?
Yes, so very, very good question, and we do have it up here 3 times, hopefully 4 or 5 as
Or
they
10.
continue to, or 10 more. So the first one is the first building we built, which is on the old base golf course at the end of Central
Is that
Avenue.
the original building?
The original building.
The first one.
We
Got
then
it.
connected that to with a bridge to a second building, which is the second one here. And the first one Amazon refers to as ONT 2. The second one is ONT 5. And the third one is the one we finished a couple years ago.
Right.
And that's on Orange Show Road, and that is the 1 million square feet that was on where the old lumber company was.
Right. That's the last one.
Right. That's the last one that we've done. So, they're rivaling Stater Brothers for the largest employer out here, and I think with that third building, they just really surpassed them.
I see.
Now, what's really interesting, and Mike's numbers are correct for if you take probably the 10 months out of the year, but if you go 12 months out of the year, Amazon's employment level doubles. So for October, November, December, and a little bit into January, the last count I saw down at ONT2, that 2,500 went to 5,000, and the other building went to 800, and Gateway South 3, the 2,000 there probably went to 4,000. So
Pretty impressive numbers. I know I have several constituents residing in this part of the city who they work for Amazon, and they're very happy with the wages and the way they're treated.
My godson just got employed out at Eastvale, and day one when he started, he didn't even get any job training yet. Full medical, full dental, tuition assistance, and a lot of it, I have to say, I hate to well, no, I like saying this. I'd say it's really credit to you all, because you all push these employers pretty hard. You bring jobs to my city, but you make sure they're good-paying jobs, and you make sure they're They have benefits, and they listen, because without it, they're going to go to a company that does provide it. And Amazon wants to be big, and they want your dollars
To stay
for,
here.
that you're going to spend, and so they're going to keep the cities happy and the employers and the employees happy.
Thank you.
All right, any other questions, comments? Thank you so much, Mr. Magnus. It is a really nice opportunity to be able to recapture some of the information that many times goes by the wayside. And as you know, every 2 years, we have a reelection process, and we have new electeds, and it's nice to get that refresher. I know
I'll come back as often as you need me to, especially when we have big events.
Right.
And I'm really, really hoping by the end of the year, we're working hard on some big, big deals that we'll be able to come back here and say, look what we've done, because it'll be really a tribute to your patience and not throwing me out in the second year. And, you know, when we hit this milestone, it's going to be huge. So.
No, well, we're very happy to have you come back anytime.
And if you want to bring more checks, that's okay, too.
Oh, yeah, that'll be next month. We'll bring a big rubber check. Well, it won't be rubber.
Oh, really? Okay. All right. This item is a consider and discuss, just like a receive and file. So I thank you very much once again. Looking forward to seeing you again soon. With that, we'll move on to item number 9, which is to approve the form of a cooperative agreement with Hillwood for hangar number 795. And at this, I will ask Mr. Burrows to make this item's presentation.
So with all of that, we decided we might ask John to do a little more work, and that's what this item is about. We have a very unique opportunity in the market. As you know, Hillwood is our master developer, but this particular facility on the airport has a lot of market interest right now. So we embarked a few weeks back on a procurement process to select a developer that could deliver turnkey improvements within a very, very compressed time frame. And the market interest in this calls for a facility to be fully occupiable by October 1st of this year. And I'm happy to report that Hillwood was the most qualified respondent in that selection process, and as our master developer has agreed to take on some front-end risk to bring this project to fruition. So the hangar itself is very similar to the UPS hangar to the north of this. It's in the middle of the airfield. And Hillwood is most known for its off-airport development, but very early on in the due diligence process as our master developer, they did extensive research and analysis on the airport, its infrastructure, and thankfully they haven't lost that knowledge. So this is a 55,000 square foot facility with a couple of small outbuildings. And the scope of work that we have here is to enter into what we call an omnibus agreement. So the most recent one you did was back in January of last year, and that was for what is now Trader Joe's. So clearly, we've got a good toolkit. Legal counsel has worked extensively to ensure that this delivery vehicle meets all of our requirements, particularly that of the development contract. And Hillwood, as our developer, will agree to deliver electrical, fire suppression, door, access improvements, to the tenant specifications. They're actively engaged with us in the final negotiations with the end user, and thankfully with those relationships, we feel that we will very shortly be able to announce who the long-term tenant will be in this case. So this agreement will be subject to a loan repayment, which is a form attached here with Sabia. The airport authority, of course, being the operator of the airport, would have a lease with this end user and would pledge that lease and those proceeds, as well as Rialto Airport proceeds, for full repayment of the loan. The maximum agreed upon price of the project is not to exceed $3 million. Hillwood would contract for all of the various construction trades. They'd be required to pay prevailing wage and will be required to bid all of the various trades for each item of work. And as I said, it is a fast-track project, but it has the potential to generate 75 to 100 new full-time jobs, as well as over 150 construction jobs. But time is of the essence to meet these tenant requirements. And that's why we have it before you here today. Happy to answer any other questions you may have. And thanks for your consideration.
All right, members, any questions?
I'll move the item.
Second.
I have a motion from Councilmember Popescu and a second from Supervisor Ramos. Any comments?
I would just comment in general. This is a perfect example where the IVDA plays a critical role in helping the airport. Obviously, besides the money that we fund on a regular basis, once the DOF allows us to actually use those funds, once again, it clearly indicates that the purpose of this organization was put together not only to redevelop the areas around the airport, as John just mentioned. I mean, the amount of development that happened as a result of the IVDA and the partnership that we developed with them is just amazing. But what's even more amazing is the opportunity that we have moving forward. This is just a small snippet of what the IVDA can do on a short-term basis for this very unique opportunity. So even though some of us sit on the airport board, some of you who sit on the IVDA can also feel confident that you play a very important role in making sure that this area prospers, and specifically the airport, because I truly believe, as prior predecessors have indicated, San Bernardino needs this airport, and every time this airport grows, San Bernardino benefits, and if San Bernardino benefits, we all benefit, and that's the reason we're all here. So I just wanted to point out to everybody. Thank you.
All right, any other comments? I have a motion and I have a second. Any opposition? Hearing none, it is so ordered. It is a great opportunity that we have once again to be able to continue to grow and to expand, to retain as much as we can of the energy that this airport continues to provide the surrounding areas and cities. I think that we definitely are on the move. I'm very happy, John, that you're so aggressive and you're so willing to continue to be the flagship of so many projects that without you, without your energy and dedication and deliverables, wouldn't have happened. So it's nice, and we'll see you again soon. Congratulations. Moving on to item number 10, which is to review status of the action plan for the Inland Valley Development Agency through June 30th of 2018. Mr. Burrows.
So as you heard, you got an update on some economic development initiatives. You know, there's more information in your packet there. I do want to just footnote that the specific plan north of the airport has been progressing. Miriam has done a great job of shepherding all the technical consultants. The traffic analysis for the 5th Street alternatives has finally been completed. And so there hopefully will be a regrouping of the team next week, and that'll allow the document to start circulation for an adoption later this year. So you haven't heard much about it, but that's because there's been a lot of behind-the-scenes work going on. I mentioned the total job generation. There's one other stat that I wanted to remind you all and Mr. Magnus. Our other milestone that we thankfully reported to all of our bondholders back in March is we got our final property tax valuation numbers in and reconciled. And this year is another milestone. So total assessed valuation for the IVDA base reuse project area just hit over $6.9 billion. And that's a new record. And that's in thanks to our partners as well, because, you know, a big driver of that growth has been, you know, their steadfast efforts there. So we keep pushing, and we're going to continue to do that, but really appreciate your continued support. So that concludes my report.
That is really nice. That is really nice. A lot of hard work, a lot of years have gone into the making of that number, and with God's grace, may they continue to increment. Any comments? Nothing on this item? All right, I believe it is just a review. Okay, all right, sounds good. With that, that brings us to the end of our agenda. I wanted to share very quickly before I adjourn. I had said I would share a phone number and a website with you earlier, so please get your pen out. The Workforce Investment Board number, America's Job Center of California, the number is 909-382-0440, and the website for general email and information is info, I-N-F-O, at wdd.sbcounty.gov. So please avail yourselves of the information and services that are there, and thereby getting yourselves launched into a great deal of preparation for what's to come. With this, any closing comments from anyone?
Through the
Mayor?
Chair, thank you. I'd like to introduce some students that attended a tour of the airport today. Several months ago, actually back in 2017, established a Mayor's Academy, and they, for the past several hours, have been shadowing me. So I'd like to ask them just to come forward if they could and just briefly introduce themselves. We'll start with Brianna Marquez.
All right, please come forward, state your name and where you go to school and what your interests are. Oh, hold on, honey, hold on. Hold on, it's not on. Hold on, someone will come and check it right now. We want to make sure we know who you are. Oh, heavens.
John Broke.
Here, how about here? Here, honey.
Hello, my name is Brianna Marquez. I go to Middle College High School. I'm a senior. I'll be attending UCR in the fall, and I plan to major in mathematics and environmental science.
All right, what high school? I didn't hear you.
Middle College High School.
All right. All right, congratulations and welcome.
Thank you.
All right. Next.
Xavier Johnson.
Testing 1 2 1 2. Hey everybody, my name is Xavier Johnson. I attend Middle College High School and Valley College, just as these other students. I am 16 years old. I am African American, and I just want to tell you guys that this is a very good experience. Very good. This is what I want to do as a career, and I am glad to see that this is really prosperous. San Bernardino has, like, growing up, I didn't know that San Bernardino was like this. I thought that the where I lived was basically what was everything, because I grew up in a lower class neighborhood. I didn't have as much resources that other students could have, such as higher class, middle class, such as that. And it's just really empowering that we have these sort of fundings from the airport, from the just from everything that we can receive. And my major that I want to do is political science. I want to become the mayor of San Bernardino, just as Carrie Davis.
Wonderful.
We have competition.
Yeah, all right. All right.
Thank you. And I just love it here already. This is where I'm going to work, and yeah. I want to go to UC San Diego because I heard that they had a good political science program, and that's what I want to do. And
All right.
thank you guys for everything. And
Thank you. Juan Resendez.
Good afternoon. My name is Juan Resendez. I'm a sophomore at Middle College. I'm 15 years old, and my major is business. I'm still indecisive of what college I'm trying to go. So right now I'm still trying to decide. But business is my major. Like that's what I'm trying to do.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Lester Cedeno.
Good afternoon. I'm Lester Cedeno. I am a sophomore at Middle College High School. I'm a biological science major, and I know this doesn't pertain to what we did today, but I am very honored and thankful for the opportunity you gave me along with my other peers, and it's been a delightful afternoon with you. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Nada Chavez.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Nada Chavez. I am a senior at Middle College High School. I also attend San Bernardino Valley College. I will be graduating May 23rd, which is next month, with an AA degree from San Bernardino Valley College, along with my IGETC, and I will be attending Cal State San Bernardino in the fall 2018, and I will be majoring in psychology with a concentration in biology. And thank you for having us all here. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. One of the instructors is here. Could you come forward?
Hi, good afternoon. Grace Navarro, College and Career Coordinator over at Middle College High School. Thank you so much for inviting our school out today. They had a wonderful experience taking a tour of the airport and getting to be in on the meeting this afternoon. Our students were selected also because they, in a way, they govern our school. They are on the focus committee at our school, the student focus committee that meets with the principal to help give a pulse on what is going on from the student perspective. And they are also on our school site council committee, so they look at our SPSA, at our budget, they plan for upcoming events. And so we also have the president along with our treasurer, our vice president, and our secretary here. So thank you again on behalf of Middle College High School and San Bernardino City Unified School District.
And before you leave, it's my understanding that Middle College High School is one of the top ranked high schools in the state of California.
That is correct.
And it's almost a 100% graduation rate, and most of them will end up with a two-year degree when they graduate.
Yes, so all of our students are dually enrolled in both San Bernardino Valley College and at the high school. And so our students are required to take 2 minimum classes every semester at Valley from 9th grade all the way through 12th.
Thank you very much. We're very proud of it. Thank you.
Congratulations. Thank you, Mayor. Let me just add, it is a beautiful pleasure. It's a beautiful feeling when we see our youth stepping up and stepping out. I like what was said about not having had any idea or awareness of what really exists around you, around your neighborhood, around your elementary school where you obviously start your formative years. But the fact is that every city has a life of its own, has an elected body, has drivers, has leadership. And it is through that leadership that ultimately cities come together and in the tide, if you will, in the economic tide, we help to lift each other and help each other to move along. And it behooves young people like yourselves to take a look at us and find out what is it about what we do that has your calling, that gives you a shout out. Young man, you mentioned something about your interest or your specialty is biology, and you don't see the connection. Let me tell you that within every project there is an environmental impact report that is required that has a great deal of biology and science attached to it, that a project cannot be approved without it. And so it's kind of like magic that once you become aware of the possibilities, there's hundreds of rabbit holes that you can just jump into and find out how each one is connected to the other. So I'm really excited to have you with us today. And Mayor, you are very consistent in bringing students before us all the time and continuing your quest to make good servant leaders out of these young students. And I thank you for this. And members, are there any other comments?
Madam Chair, I just want to highlight the students and your dedication to middle college and earning your high school diploma as well as college credits while you're there. And I know sometimes it gets a little tough doing the extra homework, doing the extra classes, but make sure that you know that by doing that, we take notice of that, and the community takes notice of it because you're working hard. So when you graduate, you're graduating with an associate's degree or college credits already earned to go to that next level. And by taking that time away from your study today to tour this facility and see this meeting, brings a lot to light as far as the community. So when those days get tough, when you're studying for those finals and you're studying for your different classes, you need to know that this community stands behind you in all your endeavors.
Wonderful. Any other comments?
Maybe when we adjourn, we could take a photo with them.
Absolutely. At this time, I will call for public comment. Anyone from the public wishing to come forward and speak on an item that is on or off the agenda. Seeing no one, I will close the public comment. And any additional comments, board members? Hearing none, then this meeting is adjourned to our next regularly scheduled meeting at Wednesday, May 9th at 3 p.m. Thank you very much. And let's get together, students, up front.